Well, good morning. Welcome back to the Broadcast Retirement Network. I'm Jeff Snyder. This is BRN AM for Friday, December 17th, 2021. And our top story today, we'll take a look at some of the top business stories for 2021. Well, joining me now to discuss this and a lot more, Carl Sullivan is the North American Managing Editor of Flipboard. Carl, great to see you. Happy holidays. Thanks so much for joining us on the program again this morning.
Good morning. It's great to be here, and I hope you and all your guests are having a great holiday season so far.
Well, I think so, and as I always like to say, any day above ground's a good day. So I'll take it. I can't speak for everyone else, but I think we try to remain very positive on the network. All right, Carl, we're going to talk about the top business stories, and this comes to us courtesy of Flipboard. Let's talk about. We can't do all of them, and we've got some links people can kind of check it out. But the inflation rate is higher than at any point since 1982. This one hurts.
Yeah, and so when Flipboard was compiling its top business stories of the year for our annual year in review section, not surprisingly, inflation was our number one choice. It's a big story that impacts everyone. It impacts corporations, it impacts governments, and of course it impacts you and me and all of your listeners. It hits our pocketbooks. So we feel it directly, and it's definitely it is the top story of the year.
And we've got the Federal Reserve meeting, and I think they're discussing interest rates, and they're going to bake in. They always bake in. It's my term, but maybe not theirs. They're going to bake in what they think the inflation rate could be. This is really driving some policy decisions in Washington. Yeah.
So I think Washington sees what's happening. I mean, gas prices are up 58%. Fuel oil is up 59%. So everyone's feeling that as we go into winter. People are seeing their fuel oil prices rise. So yeah, Washington is definitely reacting. The Fed indicated yesterday that it likely will raise interest rates several times next year. What's interesting is the stock market so far. Some people thought the stock markets would go down on this news, but so far they've actually gone up a little bit or have remained steady. And I think the thinking there is that Wall Street expected this to happen. So they kind of were already prepping for this. And that was kind of, as you said, kind of baked in to what the markets are doing.
Yeah, it's going to be a nice little dessert when it's done. All right, Carl, let's move on. Bureau of Labor and Statistics, there's a shortage, or there's 11 million job openings, but there's a shortage of candidates. And I know a lot of people maybe moved on from their jobs, they resigned, the Great Resignation, we hear that. This one kind of surprised me.
Yeah, I think it's surprised a lot of people. I think a lot of companies thought once the pandemic ended and they reopened, people would come back to work. But the problem, as you said, we've 11 million people quit their jobs in October, but we only have about 7 million people unemployed. So there's a huge gap. There aren't enough people to fill the roles. And there's a lot of different things going on here. People want more money. So there's definitely pressure to increase wages, and people are holding out for higher paying jobs. And I think, the pandemic, and we've discussed this before, the pandemic caused a lot of people to kind of question their career choices and what they're doing. So a lot of people are kind of sitting out or, holding out. And the pandemic itself, of course, some people still are a little hesitant to go back to work. We have long COVID survivors who maybe are unable to work. So many factors affecting the job market right now. So it's really tough for companies to fill a lot of positions.
Well, yeah, and I guess this is going to be a story that goes into 2022. This isn't a 2021 story. Carl, last story for this segment. Let's talk about the global supply chain. You and I actually talked about this several weeks ago. Demand up, supply chain still challenged about getting back on its feet post-pandemic, if that's even where we are.
Yeah, definitely. And, this definitely relates to the two things we just talked about, inflation and the job market. The supply chain is affecting everything. I saw a great analogy in New York Magazine about inflation in the economy right now. And I saw this on Flipboard, and the analogy was, think of the economy as like the world's largest Ouija board, and you've got billions of hands pushing that device around on the Ouija board, and including U.S. consumers. You've got Russian oil oligarchs. You've got Asian factory workers. So many factors going into this, and nobody knows where it's going to land, and that's part of the issue with uncertainty and kind of inability to predict what's going to happen with the supply chain and inflation as we go forward.
Yeah, that's an excellent analogy, Carl. I haven't thought about a Ouija board since I watched Amityville 3, The Possession, which I think was based around a Ouija board. Really, really great analogy, and that describes the global economy. Lots of individual people pushing and moving and pursuing their self-interest. Carl, I need to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk more about the top business stories in 2021. You're going to want to stay tuned right here on BRN AM. Imagine a new television network that will make you richer, healthier, and in control of your financial future. This network is for the policewoman in Nashville, Tennessee, the baker in Dubuque, Iowa, the teacher in Lexington, Kentucky. We want to make the idea of savings and retirement culturally relevant. But what do you see as a defining issue of the midterms, especially for the smaller businesses? I mean, they are the lifeblood of the American economy. Featuring exclusive interviews, current affairs, and docuseries. 33 years old, you retired early.
The philosophy is money only matters if it helps you live a life that you love.
But you got to start thinking about retirement as soon as you get in.
The Broadcast Retirement Network will drive very high engagement with premium partnerships. So this isn't retirement and savings for your parents or grandparents. This is for all Americans. And we're going to change the way you think about money. Welcome to the next frontier of retirement and savings. This is BRN, the Broadcast Retirement Network.
Are you over 50? Would you like to get up to 33% more income in retirement? Then call now for this free book, Annuity Do's and Don'ts for Baby Boomers. This free book reveals little-known secrets about annuity strategies that will help you make the right choices before buying an annuity. Call right now for your free book, and as a bonus, we'll also throw in a free annuity rate report, both absolutely free for calling Annuity General today.
Call 800-504-8194.
Welcome back. We're joined this morning by Carl Sullivan. He is the managing editor of North America for Flipboard. Carl, thanks so much for sticking around this morning and joining us today.
Glad to be here as always.
Yeah, it's always great to talk to you. And we talk about inflation, supply chain, job challenges, filling job roles. Let's talk about some stock market highs. The S&P 500, a very well-known index. I think to a man, you would, if you go on the street, you would hear people mention that along with the Dow Jones Industrial Average, et cetera. 50 all-time highs in 2021.
Yeah, over 50 actually,
over 50.
And that's only happened I think 7 times in history. I was just reading an article from MarketWatch on Flipboard talking about the history of this. Very rare occurrence, and this is one of those years where we've had over 50 record-breaking highs in one year, which is amazing for investors, but also makes people a little bit nervous about what may come next.
Yeah, you get that. I always think about. That's exactly how I think. I love the upside, but I always think about the downside. And depending on where you are in your life, you might have more time to ride out markets that go up and down. If you're a little bit on the mature end, like me, you may only have not a few years, but you'll have a period of time left. And so that could cause great concern and needs proper planning.
Yeah, and that Market Watch article I mentioned talked about what happens in the years after these years where you have over 50 record-breaking occurrences or days. History shows that the S&P 500 tends to decline in the following year. But as we know, past performance is no indication of future results. And we're in such uncertain and weird times with the pandemic and the supply chain. It's really a unique moment in history. So who knows what will happen next year? The market very well could have another stellar year. And right now, as the year draws to a close, Wall Street seems pretty bullish about the economy and the corporate outlook.
Carl, I don't know. You sound like you'd be a great compliance officer. You got it down. That's on every prospectus that I've ever seen. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Let's talk about the meme stock hype. I think we talked about this as well. GameStop, AMC, people going on Reddit, shorting those stocks, trying to make some money. Not everyone made money. A lot of people got hurt. But this is a big story.
Yeah, I mean, definitely 2021 was definitely the year of the meme stock. And if all of your listeners are not familiar with Reddit, it's basically a website with lots of forums on there, and you can learn it. You can have discussions and learn about anything, knitting, mountain biking. But meme stocks became a big forum area on Reddit this year, and that's what caused stocks like AMC and GameStop to kind of go through the roof. That has kind of calmed down a little bit. Those stocks have kind of retreated a little bit. But I was looking this morning, and GameStop is still up 800% over for the year, and AMC is up 1,400%. So obviously, there's something going on there. You know, a lot of people think it's speculative activity, and it probably is, but definitely a trend that seems to be here to stay.
And it has drawn the attention of the I guess the head of the SEC, Chairman Gensler. They're looking in this, and I left out probably one of the biggest names, Robinhood. All of this kind of baked together is getting the review of the SEC. Last one, Carl, and I think it dovetails nicely into what we're talking about with the SEC. Cryptocurrency volatility, Bitcoin, Ether, Ripple. There are a gazillion flavors of crypto, but it's remained a very volatile investment asset this year.
Yeah, so the Federal Reserve Chairman, Jerome Powell, was asked about cryptocurrencies this week, and he said he's not concerned about them. He doesn't see them as a threat to the market, but he did say they are still highly speculative investments. So I guess it was reassuring to hear that the Fed is not worried that they could somehow, topple or upset the market, but kind of a little cautionary note, they're still very speculative, and the swings can be really crazy. They can jump in value, which is great, but they can also swing back and drop in value just as quickly.
And so probably makes sense. And again, we're not providing investment advice, but you don't want to allocate all your money. I'll just speak for myself. You probably don't want to put all your money in that basket unless you can afford to lose it. And I think probably, Carl, we're going to see this continue to be volatile until the market kind of coalesces around this type of asset. And the underlying technology makes a lot of sense. And look, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I don't think it's going to upset the US dollar or any other fiat currencies. I think it's a part of this bigger picture.
Yeah, and it's interesting. There's a debate among financial advisors, when they're talking to their clients about their retirement portfolios or their, just overall investment portfolios. Should average Americans be invested in cryptocurrency? A lot of advisors are starting to say, yes, put a small amount, understanding that it is a speculative investment, but you should have your hand in the game. But other financial advisors are still, like you said, taking the wait and see approach and kind of cautioning their clients not to invest in it, at least at this point.
Yeah, well, maybe it's not the Ouija board, maybe it's the 8-ball. And it says, Jeff, you should invest in crypto. Carl, we're going to have to leave it there. Always great catching up and learning about what's happening on the Flipboard platform. Great to see you. Have a great holiday, great New Year, and we'll catch up with you again very soon.
Yeah, thanks very much, and Happy New Year to everyone who's watching.
That wraps up this episode of BRN AM. Have a topic of interest, someone you think we should talk to, drop us a line. And don't forget, for all the information in finance, wellness, lifestyle, tech, so much more, check out today's edition of our daily newsletter, The Morning Pulse. Hey, want to search our archives or see our latest content? Check out our streaming partners, Roku, Amazon, and over 100 more. We're back again tomorrow, this time for BRN Weekly. We'll have a very special guest, and we'll take a look at some of our best segments for the week. Until then, I'm Jeff Snyder. Stay safe, keep on saving, and don't forget, roll with the changes.
But if you're tired of the same
Now is your opportunity to co-create content around any topic on the first lifestyle and wellness network. Reach a global audience through our platform and co-own exclusive branded content. All of our programs are available on demand and also as audio-only podcasts, so you can take us on the go. Broadcast Retirement Network, available anytime, anywhere, and on any device.
Are you being audited and do you owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes? Is the IRS threatening to take more of your money? Don't fight the IRS alone. The Tax Doctor is here to help you negotiate your tax bill and reduce your stress. The IRS can freeze your assets and seize your bank accounts, but you can stop these IRS actions. The Tax Doctor will work with you using our years of experience to represent your case to help you get the best resolution under the IRS guidelines. Help is here to deal with the IRS to reduce your stress. We've handled thousands of cases, so we know what we're doing. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes, do not call the IRS alone. Call a Tax Doctor now for a tax emergency analysis.
Call 800-224-6439.